Hello, welcome to Clara Fantasia. We are an original tabletop role-playing series that's heavily inspired by JRPG, anime, and Avatar: The Last Airbender. My name is Casper, but I go by Sushi online. I'm the main creator of the series and DM for the very podcast you're listening to right now. It's an absolute honor to be taking you through the world of CF. Storytelling and immersion are cornerstones of my writing style, so it's very plot-driven, very dramatic at times, very over-the-top, and there's a grand plot somewhere in there. We have a huge focus on our characters, so we spend a lot of time exploring what everyone's feeling and how everyone would react to certain events, and less time dealing with traveling logistics or combat. On top of that, our role-playing system is very streamlined, so there's not a lot of stats that you have to keep track of. If you can roleplay, you can play Clara Fantasia. We're quite beginner-friendly, and hopefully it's easy to follow. Today, we're going to be presenting Episode 0, a new special introductory episode created for this podcast. It might not be heavily connected to the rest of the first season, called The Rekindled, but it helps establish our style, how we DM, roleplay, and tell our story. I hope that it'll speak for itself and that you'll find it immersive and entertaining. I'll keep things short here so we can jump right in though. So to learn more about the world of Clara Fantasia, we have a Discord channel full of art and info and enthusiastic people who are very passionate about the project. We won't be able to show a map or character designs on an audio podcast, so if you're ever curious, step into our server. We'd love to have you around. We welcome any questions or discussions about the campaign, so just come over and chill if you'd like. Also, if you want to take part in a campaign yourself, let that be on a podcast or in one of our many regular runs on our Discord channel, it's easier than you think. All you have to do is let us know that we're going to try slotting you in. So we have things running year-round. Anyone can take part in CF as long as there's enough DMs to host campaigns, but this podcast will help those that aren't able to join. So if you don't have a steady schedule, if the time zones don't line up, you're still going to be able to experience CF by tuning in this way. With that being said, let's talk about Episode 0. So I'd like to introduce the 4 players of this podcast run and who they'll be playing just for today. Note that they're going to be playing a pre-written character for Episode 0, though they had the chance to add new traits and their personal flares however they want. These characters you're going to see today are only going to appear in Episode 0. Next time, it's going to be Episode 1, named Why Do We Always Start Off So Grim?, which is the beginning of The Rekindled, the main story and Season 1 of Clara Fantasia. They'll be playing their main characters, they'll embark on this grand fantasy that all began because of the events that unfold today. So, let's introduce you to the cast. First off, we've got Snow, who plays Lark. Hi, tell us more about yourself, welcome aboard, and a bit about who you're going to be playing this chapter.
Alright, hi guys, my name is Snow. I am from the Missing Role Player Found podcast, where we play a Sword Art Online campaign. I am the manager, producer, editor for that show. And today I'm going to be playing Lark, a young man that could be generally described as rugged, good-looking, and has a set of sideburns that could put any barber's clippers to shame. While a little on the short side at 5'4", Lark has a big heart, as he says, making up for the missing 6 inches. Take that as you will. He's also known as the man carrying a bunker in his satchel, as he seems prepared for just about any situation. He joined up with the Amani military, seeking an experience far from home. Strangely, however, he always seems a little on edge, paranoid even, checking around corners or constantly scanning the crowds around him. And that is Lark.
Thank you so much, Snow. Feel free to check out Snow's project, Missing Role Player Found, when you have time. We've got Lark with the killer sideburns. Alright, we're moving up to Molly, who plays Anele. Hi, Molly. Welcome aboard.
Hi, I play Anele. She is from Tidrin, the other Isakanen city that's the Earth Kingdom. She is dark-skinned, great at survival, starting fires, hunting. She's the team's prime motivator, moral compass, and resident pun enthusiast. She's hesitant to use violence and very smart.
Nice, thank you. Anele is definitely probably the, I wouldn't say token, but definitely the snarky character of the group, but is kind of like the main motivator. It's quite nice. Thank you for joining us. We've got Floof, who plays Ela. Hi, Floof.
Hey, Hi, I'm Floof. I'm an artist, and I've played D&D before, but never on a podcast, so I'm really nervous. So, my character is Ela.
There's a
She's
first
Southeast... Yeah, really. She's Southeast Asian and came back from the nearby city of Hangzhou. She immigrated to Amani with her family, and she's been living there ever since she was 5. She's very loyal and obedient, and she never disobeys orders. She totally follows Sakan's leadership, but she's really surprisingly mature. Yeah, so that's Ela.
Yeah, just as a heads up, Sakan is the leader of the group, so the 4 of us would be listening to his orders. He's kind of like the, he takes care of us and makes sure that we're fine. And yes, Ela is the emotional backbone of the group, so she's gonna be taking care of everybody else. Last but not least, we have B, who plays Nomsa. Hey, B.
Hi, my name's B. I am a lot of places. I'm the DM of the Frostwalkers podcast, and I am the player character Silas in the Founders of Reika podcast. So I have a little experience, kind of. I still don't know what I'm doing. But here I'm going to be playing Namsa, who is the battle-hardened one of the group. Namsa has been in the military the longest. They are a bit of a nationalist. They'll do anything for their home. And even though they put up a rough and kind of rough front, Namsa is definitely not heartless. They have a bit of a mama bear side to them, and they do anything for their team. And so they have a bit of a developed relationship with her crew. And she is secretly, as much as she would kill you before she admit it, she doesn't hate her.
Here we go. Thank you so much, B. Be sure to check out the Frostwalkers. They have a lot of good stuff as well. Check them out on Podbean, and I think also iTunes and other places
All the
as
places.
well. All the places. All the podcast places. Alright, and that's all of them. If you're interested, be sure to check them out. Say hi, go to our Discord channel, follow us on social media. We've got quite a bit of social media handles as well, so take your pick. So, back to CF. We're going to be exploring more lore, context, and we're going to describe we're going to explain how we roleplay as we go. So, without further ado, we're going to be jumping right into Chapter 0, where our characters gather on Volixia Fields, a beautiful grassy landscape between the towns Viento and Amani. Now, Viento is under Aeolician rule, that's the air people for you, whereas Imani is under Isokana of the earth people. Again, to learn more about their cultural inspirations and lore, be sure to join us on Discord and learn about more, learn about our project in general. Check us out on social media, blah blah blah. Even a Patreon where we commission wonderful art thanks to your contributions. It'll be a lot easier to remember where the towns are and what the kingdoms are like that way. But for now, just enjoy the show. That's all you need to know. And by the way, in our world, those that control an element are called primordialists, or manipulators, Mani for short, like air Mani, fire Mani, and so forth. So, I think that's all you need to know for episode 0. Everybody ready?
Get started.
Yep.
Okay, let's go. Hope you enjoy episode 0, and so begins the Fantasia. The region of Panculia, a turbulent world where cultures and elements clashed for many generations. The melting pot has definitely spilled, and by that I mean blood, lots of blood. But now, 14 centuries after the beginning of our history on this world, the waves finally calmed. Differences set aside, age-long feuds settled. We had stayed stagnant for quite some time now, but this newfound peace was astounding. It's what we needed to advance, to grow as primordialists, to grow as people. Our generation, just like the one before, we're finally able to make peace with other nations and kingdoms, and for once, we're happy to share the world beneath the same sky. The Air Mani of Aeolus, the Fire Mani of the Tsinghua Empire, the Water Mani of the Valkyrie Republic, and us, the Earth Mani of Isokana, finally learning to get along. Sure, we're a bit exclusive with our cultures, and diversity is still a bit of a problem on top of overpopulation and all other things, but it's progress. Honestly, Pangulia had done it. We were a world just reaching its prime, and it was a good time to be alive. Well, that was 2 years ago. A lot happened afterwards, and I mean a lot. But it's a long story. I know you're just popping by, so I'd like to read you one of my shorter books instead. Here, it's a story about the saviors of Imani, my city, my home. Without their help back then, I probably wouldn't be here. So just, take a seat. No, not that one. You don't know where that one's been. Yeah, okay, that's good. Grab yourself a cup of tea, friend, and let little old Panya tell you a story. Let's fade to black. It begins at Volixia Fields, a vast expanse of a beautiful, vibrant green. As our view pans down from the evening skies, we swoop down towards the ground in cinematic fashion, gliding over the blanket of untrimmed grass. We soon come to a halt in front of a group of 4 budding Earth Mani. That's Mani as a manipulator, the colloquial term for a primordialist. These young adults, all in their early 20s, have gathered here on a conveniently fine day, waiting for the leader of the small reconnaissance division. We have Lark, the anxious and paranoid one, Anele, the snarky, experienced one, Hila, the emotional backbone, and Namsa, the soldier of Imani, the most loyal of them all. And of course, we have Sekan. Sorry I'm late, says Sekan, hands out on both sides. He drops his quarterstaff and lowers himself to a squat. After adjusting the buttons on his green tunic, our leader glances over with a grin. Honestly, it's kind of hard navigating the fields. Everything's just grass. You'd think I'd get used to it, but in my defense, I don't have my compass anymore.
What happened? Did you lose it? Nella asks.
Well, let's just say that I really shouldn't have given my compass to Nora back at Viento, but I wanted to give her something, you know? Sekan finally leans back and lands on his bum, an arm wrapping around his right knee. He even used my best pickup line. You must be the north to my compass, for no matter where I am always drawn to you. Extra points, because, you know, Earth Mani and all that. I thought it was clever.
Lark reaches into his bag, and he pulls out a compass, and he hands it to him. I'm always drawn to
Lark.
you.
Oh, Lark. Sekan gives Lark a couple of finger guns, reaches over for the compass. You always came prepared. Thank you so much. Well, that's where the pickup line and attempt was made. Hey, and, you know, losing the compass only got me 10 minutes late, so no big deal. Anyway, let's set things up. Lark, you probably have the wooden planks with you,
Of course
right?
I do. And he goes in and he reaches and he pulls out the wooden planks.
After he hands them over, Sekan proceeds to clear out a small portion of grass, kind of placing a ring of rocks around the makeshift campfire. And it's then when he turns towards Anele. Anele, we all know you're best at starting fires, or at least the luckiest. I'll leave this to you, as I always do.
All right.
Alright, so for the people at home, this is a very basic check, where Anele will have to roll a d20 as ways out of dice. So all Molly has to do is to roll, and we see how well she rolls, and we decide on what happens based on what is rolled. Normally, in some other systems, for example D&D, you're going to have stats allocated to your character, which makes your character better at doing certain things, but we don't have a very strict grid or chart on what stats you need to put into characters. We don't have a very complicated stats system. So all we have to do in these situations is to just roll a d20, and maybe sometimes they get a small bonus depending on if they're good at it. So in this situation, in LA, roll a d20 please, and because you've got prior knowledge on how to start fires, You're knowledgeable with survival. You know how to do this. It's kind of the normal. So you get a +5 onto your roll, and that's
All
pretty
right.
much it.
Oh, nice. 19 plus 5, 24.
That's 24, and that's pretty much a flawless success over there. So do you want to do a brief description on how you do it?
Yeah. Anele creates a small teepee with the wooden planks, puts some kindling in the center, leaving enough room for good airflow, strikes a match, flicks it on. Very, very cool, very, very casual-like, and it just erupts immediately into a
Oh wow,
crackling fire.
nice.
Good job.
If I didn't
And
know
so-
any better,
Yeah,
If I
go
didn't-
on.
sorry. If I didn't know any better, I'd say I'm a fire Bonnie.
Sakan just kind of snorts at that remark and just turns to the fire and says, "Well, maybe. Who knows? You might be able to, control 2 elements at the same time. Might be like the Primus or something like that."
Anele flexes.
Once the
I'm
fire's
sad at this
set,
point
we
just 'cause-
all-
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was just gonna say that Namsa, in reaction to the thing about her being the Primus, would just be like, please. If the universe pulled such a cruel prank, I think I would out this whole situation. I would leave? No. Also, the sheer amount of puns caused me to go into a catatonic stupor. What did I miss?
Honestly, not much. Just us trying to set up the fire and me getting another compass thanks to Lark. Honestly, pretty much it. Welcome
Cool,
back.
cool. So the usual stupid. Gotcha.
Yeah, the usual stupid. Sakan lets out a soft sigh, but pats Namsa on the shoulder. Once the fire's set, we all gather around the crackling flame for warmth, our faces basking in the firelight. The heavy but comforting smell of smoke permeates the air around us. Sakan is the first to act, setting up a small tripod where he can hang a small pot from and getting everything else set as well, making sure it's stable. And as he fixes everything in place, double checking on everything just so the fire doesn't spread elsewhere, he glances over at the rest of us. "So, how'd the patrol around the fields go?" "Well, it's not raining for one, so that's a plus." "Viento seemed fine on my end, nothing too strange. How's it like on the fields?"
Well, as the one you left in charge, I'm pleased to report absolutely nothing.
Makes me wonder why the Heckers military command keeps us here sometimes. Like, this is the same thing every day. What do they expect us to do, really? Like, watch the grass grow? That would be a little bit more interesting than what we're doing at this current point.
Lark chimes in. You don't know what the grass is planning. But besides that, we also...
They might be planning an uprising.
Feed me, Seymour.
Oh, no.
What about you, Anele? Have you, how did your search go?
I wasn't gonna bring this up because this is just so embarrassing, but I found a deer, and I had it. We're all gonna have amazing venison tonight, but I scared it away because I
Were you?
sneezed and farted at the same time.
Sakan just stares over and he says, "Are you sure you didn't flex at the deer?"
Anele looks at the ground, laughing and kind of embarrassed. No, it was just dumb.
It was your special brand of dumb, and no one can take that away from you.
Hey, did you get that, Anele? A compliment.
Yeah, thanks, Nomsa.
No problem. What about you, Lark? Anything of import?
I mean, I always keep my ear to the ground. Can't really trust this quiet time. Whenever it's this quiet, you know somebody's planning something. But unfortunately...
Considering you were talking about grass uprising, I'm not sure if you were literally...
Okay,
Concerns me greatly.
alright, listen. I might not have had my ear actually on the ground because I have some allergies with grass, but I kept my eye out. And unfortunately, well, no, fortunately, I saw nothing this time. But maybe next time.
Yula's gonna cut in and she's gonna say, I'm sure everything's alright, Lark.
Oh, Ela! I didn't ask
Hi,
you
I'm
how
still
you were
here.
doing.
Hila was
Oh,
probably just sitting
everything-
in the corner somewhere.
Yula was sitting politely. She wasn't really making much noise. Everything went fine on my end. I didn't see anything out of the ordinary.
Well, you heard it here first. Absolutely nothing is going on. I like it.
Well, we can't really complain. We get paid decently, so I guess there's that, though. Sakan glances over at Ela, though, and he kind of lowers his head a little bit, feeling a little bit sad. And he says, well, you look a little homesick, though, Ela.
Yeah, I'm alright though. I just
Hanging
wish I
in
could
there?
go back, you know? Yeah.
Well, once we're
Yeah, I-
done, maybe you have, a little bit of time to head home. You're not that far from home.
Well, I really hope so. I'd love to see my family again.
And as we settle down for a little while, we begin telling our stories, the usual stuff, passing the metaphorical stick around. That too dies down after some time. And now it's the calm ambiance of the wild that takes center stage. But then... scream. And then another. Sakan! Sakan! We turn just in time to see a green-robed soldier charge into the clearing. But something's not right. We catch a glimpse of his terror-ridden eyes, and a dark premonition dawns upon us in the form of an eerie tingle right behind our neck. The Khan recognizes him immediately. He stands up. Cade, what's going on? Are you okay? Cade's trembling frame keeps him standing for a few more seconds, but his knees quickly give in. His whole body goes limp as he collapses face first onto the ground. What do you do?
Lark immediately runs over and he try to make a wall, like a protective wall from the earth? Like a small wall. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, so it's kind of like a half wall, like up to the waist.
Yeah,
or
basically he'll
something
kneel
like that.
down and he'll use it to kind of like cover this person. And him, because he's not sure what's
Mhm.
going on and he doesn't trust it.
And
Right,
Hila
okay.
is right beside Lark, and she's going to run up to... What is his name again? I'm sorry. The scout.
The person, Cade.
Yeah, Cade. She's going to run up to Cade, and she's going to ask, Are you okay? What happened?
Cade has been mostly concealed by the wall, but regardless, you don't hear a response.
Anele would like to roll for perception to see if she can spot any threats.
Okay. Roll a d20 without any bonus.
Yikes, that's a 4.
You don't see anyone nearby at all.
Nothing. I see grass. I see green. I see the color green.
Namsa is gonna, stand by Anele and have...
And Lark is gonna he's gonna go over and he's going to check and see if he can find a pulse.
Is the wall still on? So you're kind of going around. this
It's like a
wall and
half
kind of
wall.
lowering?
It's like a half moon almost, to the back of him.
Right.
So you can kind of step into it.
Okay. So you're going in
Yes,
for the
I'm
pulse,
gonna go
right?
in for a pulse. I mean, Lark is.
Yeah, you don't need a d20
Okay.
for that, thankfully. So Lark would feel no pulse at all.
He's dead. He looks up and he looks very solemn.
Sakan is definitely staring right at Cade. You almost see visions behind his eyes, just as he recalls potential time spent with him. He takes a step back, and as he does that, the rest of us, we see our eyes land upon several arrows sticking out of Cade's back as our eyes trailed his body. Bolts from a crossbow, Aeolician technology. Even after death, though, a small scroll is also secured within Cade's hand, now crumpled by the sheer force that had clamped around it.
He's going to reach out and take it.
Sikan takes a deep breath. He steps towards Ela, right? Was Ela the one that got it?
Ela, yes, Ela took it.
He steps towards Ela and says, "Mind if I..." And then his voice just trails off.
I'll hand it to him. Ela will hand it to him.
Thank you. He begins to scan through the hastily written report almost immediately. And as we all watch, you kind of see every inch in which his body deflates, and you feel the steep drop in temperature around him. Upon reaching the bottom of the report, Sikan's shaking hand lets go of the scroll. He raises a finger to speak, but hesitates, instead staying quiet for a few more seconds. It takes him several deep breaths before he makes his announcement. "Gather your things. We're heading back to Amani, now."
Okay, what's happening? Are we in danger?
What was in the report?
The leader of Aeolus, High Priest Zarin, was assassinated today by an Isokanen, one of us. He
What?
looks over solemn. They aren't happy about this.
Well, no shit.
Why would we do this?
I told you it was too quiet.
I
For once you
have
were right,
no
Log.
clue. I have no clue why this would have happened. There's no motive. Why? He
Rogue
plants his
faction?
quarterstaff into the ground. A small wave of uplifted dirt immediately extinguishes our campfire. Just in case there's others nearby, he immediately begins to pack up in an attempt to get us all on our feet as well. And it says here that Aeolus is planning a surprise assault on Imani at the break of dawn. If Imani is unprepared, we're doomed. We have to go back and warn them. It's then when Sikan looks behind his shoulder, where Cade lies lifeless. As much as you deserve a proper burial, good brother, we have to keep moving.
Imani is the biggest city on the continent. We have to get there right away.
This is wrong. There's something else at work here, but for now we just have to do what we have to do.
I
wouldn't
agree.
I'm sure
know
we'll
what
figure
else
it
is
all
happening.
out. But we have to move right now, right? We have to.
Yeah.
We can't stay here.
Regardless of what happened, Lark is right, we can't stay here. His attention then shifts towards the rest of us. His fists stay clenched, his eyes stern but brimming with certainty. Well, guys, he's passed the mission on to us. We're now responsible for relaying this information to the chieftain of Imani, Teleza. In that case, allow me to make things very clear. Sikan raises a hand and points to the southeast, where a distant plateau stands at the end of Volixia Fields. Now that such a duty is bestowed upon us, he's taken his leadership role once again and is seen a lot more confident than before. God knows we need that confidence. Our top priority is to get to Imani at all costs. If something happens to one of us, some of us, maybe all of us, in the end, I'm afraid duty comes first. The entire town's counting on us, so bring our A game, okay? Are we clear?
Yes,
Understood.
sir.
Yes.
That means if something happens to one of us, we're gonna have to keep going. And if that's the
Understood, sir.
situation, if that's the case, then, well, he kind of just looks down on the floor without saying much more. And he says, well, let's not stay here for too long. And that's when his words are cut short, when an arrow whizzes past, grazing his right cheek. It takes him a second to thaw out of his frozen state, but he's quick. Turns just in time and slams his quarterstaff against the Aeolician assailant. Because you couldn't see, you did rather poorly on your roll before, Anele, you did not see these guys kind of surrounding us as we were getting ready to go. And so currently Sakan is trying his best to defend us as we are now still kind of in shock, standing there as everything kind of happens really quickly in front of us. We hear the distinct crack of his wooden weapon, but the enemy scout sent flying. It seems, however, that he's not the only one there. As we all come to realize the danger we're in, finally waking from our adrenaline boost, Sakan's already on the move again. A stone wall erupts from our left, intercepting several bolts that were us-bound, and we hear a familiar thump of one's foot stomping the earth and the punchy, bass-boosted impact of a boulder crashing into another enemy. As we stand there shocked, everything happens so quickly. Our eyes can barely track Sakan as he sends one scout crashing into the other. We can barely react fast enough, too, as he lands a flying kick against the wall behind it. Immediately, the wall shatters, shards of rock blasting some enemies away. The power of being a primordialist. We all dream of getting there one day. We're not the best, but Sakan's shown the potential of being a good primordialist, a good Mani, and that's something that we dream to be someday. Until then, though, we can only... Watch out! Yells Sakan. We turn around to spot where he's pointing at. An arrow flying straight towards Ela. Roll a d20 with a... Well, no penalties. No penalty.
That is a 14.
I rolled a 10, so that's fine. In that instance, a steely blade comes slicing down from the side, intercepting the arrow just in time. And there it is, a katana held just an inch before your face, Ela. You can smell the scent of iron from the blade, or perhaps it's the dried blood. As the blade is withdrawn, our eyes land upon a man in Tsinghua Empire armor, not one of us, from the Fire People. A fire primordialist, no doubt. His clothes are unique, kind of a shogun like armor or samurai armor, and is an assortment of red, black, some white. Well, someone needed help. You're welcome. Yes.
Thank you?
Immediately,
Who are you?
Sakan rushes over before Ela can even finish. He kind of holds us back with an arm to protect us. Identify yourself right now. The man strokes his little goatee and sheaths his katana. Name's Yamashita, a general working for the Empire. I came from Yosai and was en route to Hongdao for a new mission. I saw all of you and I figured I'd drop by. He pauses. Give me a moment. He spins around on his heels, his katana, drawn from the same motion, glimmers beneath the moonlight. From the friction between blade and sheath came a spark of electricity that runs down the iron sword. Yamashita's eyes narrow, a faint hint of sadism shining through. This won't take long. A single swing sends a bolt of electrical force upon the enemy. It strikes true, violently shocking him in place. Then the electricity ricochets onto the ones behind him to similar effect. As he holds his blade to the skies, lightning strikes the tip of his katana, reinvigorating it, restoring its power. Then Yamashita moves. He blinks towards the stunned opponent, then the one behind, darting in a zigzag fashion. As he finally stops and sheaths his blood-stained blade, several limbs and or heads slide off their usual positions. Their bodies collapse soon after. Facing this display of skill, this efficiency, how are our characters feeling?
I was gonna say, if I'm being completely honest with you, Noms is feeling that good inferiority.
Oh.
Just
It
like,
doesn't help that we're not exactly the best with elements either, so I guess that also adds to it.
I just imagine, like, Anele probably, because they're the one they were standing by, would see them, like, look at their sword and go...
Anele is horrified. I mean, this guy just, like, decapitated and behanded a couple people.
Disarm.
He cast disarm. Cast disarm.
Just disarm, yeah.
Ela is shocked, like completely stunned. She's just like, what is even going on right now?
Lark is completely enthralled by this man's abilities.
He's just really
He's
into
really
it.
into
Lark
it.
is just... He's like jamming out to this this track that is playing in the ambience in the background. He's just jamming. He's really into it. He's nodding to the beat as Yamashita takes.
He's also
kind of
like mimicking his moves in the background, like really underhandedly.
I'd let him stab me.
Fanboy.
Like, gee, I sure hope this doesn't awaken anything in you.
Oh no. Oh no. I like how it's Yamashita that, you know, leads to the lack of paranoia, that fixes the paranoia of Lark. Like, he's just completely fine right now.
He sees somebody handling a very difficult situation with such ease, and he has a man crush. He definitely has like a bromance developing.
Oh no! That's freaking amazing. Sakan walks up to the general, carefully stepping over a few corpses. Some of them still jolt in their spot, with some leftover electricity kind of trapped within them. A little bit more and they could probably be reanimated at this point. Thank you, General. Whoa. Yamashita turns around with a wide grin. We gotta talk about payment. Payment? Well, I saved your asses, didn't I? Chuckles. What do you say to that?
We didn't ask
Lark
you to
reaches
save
into
us.
his bag.
We didn't ask you to kill those
Saved
people.
us of your own free will.
Oh my god, Lark's just here, take it,
Lark
take my
reaches
shut
in
up
his
and
bag,
take my money.
pulls out all of the money he's been collecting to send home to his family, and just throws it at him. Take it. It's yours.
Lark is bad at managing finances. Don't let Lark... Why is Lark keeping the
That
money?
was a bad idea.
That's only his money.
Who gave... Oh man, who gave the money to Lark again?
Look, I might have given it.
I told him this was his last chance.
I might have spent it on the prostitutes last time, but at least he thinks this is a better investment.
Lark!
Lark.
Slightly better. Slightly better.
At least
Yamashita
he's getting
just
some-
whistles at the money, and he just kind of wags his finger, says, "You're gonna need a little bit more than that, but..."
He pulls off his
I
ring
can give you a little bit more than that right here.
Ah!
and he throws it at him.
Oh my god.
Are you
My money.
proposing to this man?
No, I'm just. He's
Mark,
just throwing his ring at him. He's
please.
like, "Take my ring."
Who knows? That might be how like proposing
It-
works.
Maybe back then in the day.
You need a ring at someone's face and you marry.
You know what? No. But even better.
You hit someone in the face.
Even
with a
better.
ring.
No. He walks up.
Oh?
He takes the guy's hand. He takes Yamashita's hand, opens it, and places the ring and folds his hand over it. This should cover it.
Ila's just watching this whole thing, like, she's got that look on her face of, like, disbelief and just, like, confusion. Because one, she doesn't know what's going on, and two, all of a sudden this guy, her friend, Lark, is just, like, giving this guy all of his shit, and she's just like, what is
This
going
secretly
on?
got Lark closer to Yamashita, and it makes him happy.
You see on the top right-hand corner of your screen, just Yamashita will remember this. He tenses up a little bit and he says, well, I'll take that on top of maybe like a favor or two someday. That's when Sakan gets a little angry. He says, we don't fucking owe you. He decides not to argue further. He realizes that he's dealing with a sly dog here. Well, okay, maybe Lark doesn't think that way, but that's what Sakan thinks. Fine, but we'll deal with that some other time. We have to head to Amani now. Yamashita tilts his head. Oh, what's the rush anyway? Something I should know? Sakan hesitates at first. Well, it's not really something related to your empire, but if Aegios is planning on something like this, then I think your people deserve to know. Hongdao is quite close to where we are, so I can't say that you're gonna be safe from whatever happens. Guys, tell him the details so we can alert the officials at Hongdao. I'm gonna have to scout ahead, so catch up to me once you're done. That's an order. Sakan picks up his equipment and disappears behind a wall of ferns. He's heading towards Imani before anyone else. Yamashita turns towards the rest of us. He's still holding the ring. He kind of he tries to put it onto his finger, slowly sliding it in. Just kind of looks at it and is like, oh, not bad. Anyway, what is Aegios planning?
Please please, Lark, go on ahead.
Do tell the man.
Oh crap, no, my brain just fried. Okay, Lark is so overwhelmed by emotion of him actually speaking towards him, he's kind of like, huh. He's at a loss for words.
We'll pick up.
It's the crush thing going on.
The bromance
He's
is so strong that he's like, he just wants to be this man.
He just wants to be
is
this.
going to pick up the silence and say, what's the city's name? Because I am so bad at names. I'm so sorry.
Aegiolis is the air people, and they're currently about to basically attack our town, Imani, at the break of dawn.
Yes, that.
Yes, that.
Yes, that.
I think at this point, Namsa just
Hila literally
shows
just
him
says
the
yes,
letter.
Yes, that, like without saying anything
Yeah.
else.
Namsa literally just walks up and shows him the letter, and like is still there expecting like it to be handed back, but it's just like, so yeah, now you know. I'd like this piece of paper back.
Yamashita scans over the letter a little bit and then just scrolls it, turns it back into a scroll and shoves it into a pocket of his and says, "Thank you."
No,
I said I wanted that back!
Well, I need something to show my people,
Keep it.
don't I?
It's yours.
No!
Oh wait, sorry, I'm sorry.
Okay. Lark, do you have spare paper?
You think I don't? And he reaches into his bag and he pulls out a stack of paper. It's like a bag of holding.
She takes one immediately, just like grabs a pen and just goes, just give me the thing and I'll make you a copy. Everyone else go on ahead. I have to take care of everything!
Yamashita sighs and just hands over the scroll again. Alright, well.
They just start like jotting down like the basics of it. It is less ornate, it is less fancy. It just basically says like the important 2 sentences. She scrolls it up and hands it back and goes, "There, take that back to your people. Now if you excuse us, we have a mission."
Alright, well, thank you for the information. I'll alert the officials at Hongdao. If anything, though, because of what happened today, expect Hongdao to come to your aid. Our relationship with Aegiolisians haven't been the best anyway, so, you did us a big favor. You did your own nation a big favor. He takes a graceful bow. Well, remember my name, Yamashita. I'll find you once I need something done. You technically still owe me. So until then, good luck. He looks to the side where the distant Aegiolisian town of Viento glows faintly in the distance. That's where the army would be coming from. You're up against a strong enemy. And with that, Yamashita takes his leave, starting over towards Hongdao.
Hila's gonna watch him go for a minute. And then she's gonna turn back to everybody and be like, "Okay, are we ready?"
I'm ready.
Is
we never
Namsa still
see-
kind of on edge?
Oh, she's kind of fuming. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Hila,
Fire
you
Mommy, just
definitely
think
notice
it could
that
come up here.
Namsa is really freaking pissed. May or may not be made worse because Lark was literally hitting on Yamashita.
Freaking Fire Monty coming over here, taking the spotlight.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah,
Hey Lark, there are times where I want your input. This is not one of those times. Can we go now?
Do you want my input?
Hila, how are you
do
responding
really
to
need to
this?
get
You
moving.
definitely feel so much negativity going.
Okay. Cause guys, we need to calm down because we're all on the same side right now. So we need to keep moving, okay?
Namsa just
agree.
breathes
Let's
in,
go.
counts to 10, and breathes out. All right. I'm fine. We're cool. Everything's
right.
cool.
Are we all
Out of
right?
sight, out of mind.
Mhm.
All right, let's get going.
And thus we're on the move, pushing through the sea of green with our destination above the horizon. The Khan's somewhere ahead of us, so he's left a set of footprints that we can follow. Currently, what's the group dynamic here among the 4 of you? Who moves first? Who's following behind? What's the formation?
Lark will follow up in the back.
Well, Ela
Anela
first,
takes
so
the
should be in the lead.
Oh.
Lark's at the back. Who's at the front again?
Ela will
Anela
be-
and Ela, I think.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and Ela will totally
Which-
share that with somebody because she doesn't want to take the lead for herself quite yet.
And
Sure, let's
Nomsa's
make sure
probably somewhere in the middle
everybody's
then. Alright, so
if Hila wants to share point, Namsa will share lead with them because they are the most aggressive.
It's just 3 people at the front and Lark at the back then at that point.
We're off to see the
Yuna's
wizard,
gonna
the
go
wonderful
kind
Wizard
of
of
halfway in
Oz.
between both parties, and try and like make sure everybody's together.
Yeah. We're off to see Imani, the wonderful town of Earth. We eventually storm into another clearing on the fields, finally able to catch our breath. But when our eyes finally land upon Sikan, circled by 5 Aegialisian scouts, we know that time isn't on our side here. Alright, people, this is our fight. We see a blade clashing against Sikan's cracked quarterstaff, and it finally shatters in his hands. We have to act now. Okay, so for everybody, this isn't like the standard combat encounter in CF, so I'll explain how this works. You're gonna each take on 1 enemy, but since you have initiative, you all get to attack first. You describe how you attack, and then you roll a d20. Depending on your description and your battle prowess, you may get a bonus in your roll. The opponent then rolls to defend. If the defense rolls higher, your attack doesn't land, it just misses. If it does, Wait. If the defender rolls higher, then the attack misses. If it's lower, then they get hit by the attack. Simple as that. And the difference in the rolls indicate how brutal or effective your attack is. So if your attack is 15, and the defense is like a 4 or a 5, that's more than 10 difference. That's basically 10 difference. And that probably means that there's gonna be quite a bit of damage done to your body. Normally, you would just take damage on paper when taking hits, kind of like in D&D or other systems where it's just, oh, you take 10 damage. But in this fight, because of how dire the situation is and how grim our little chapter is, rolling much lower on a defensive roll can easily result in losing a limb or worse. So it's a very simple back and forth thing going on for episode 0 here, and may the strongest one survive. We're going to be dealing with things one by one, but we imagine everything here happening simultaneously, kind of like a slow-mo, wide-angled shot that covers everything. So our vision kind of zooms into Lark, with our attention now completely on him, but the others are actually also facing the other Aegialisian scouts one-on-one. So, Lark, what would your first strike or move be? And good luck.
Lark is going to basically do some earth manipulation, and he is going to make shards of sharpened like stone and dirt, and he's going to toss it at this other person.
Okay, roll a d20, please.
18.
18. I rolled a 6, so that's a difference of 12. So that is pretty big. So describe your attack, please. It's more than 10, which means you could probably do some actual damage onto them. I'll let you decide on what happens.
Okay. So the shrapnel of stones goes flying towards this person, and it basically pelts the body, and one of the stones actually hits in the guy in the eye, and it actually kind of bursts the vessel in that eye so that he has blood just streaming down. I would say it would be his left eye.
Alright, so let's say that soldier will now get a -2 in his future rolls, because losing an eye like that would pretty much hinder a lot of things. Not only sight, but also depth perception, whatnot. So, alright, so the soldier does a counterattack. He lets out this scream in pain. He charges forward with his gladius sword, and as he runs forward, because Aegialisians, being air people, they have the innate ability of basically having heightened reflexes. So they run fast, they jump high, and on top of that, the soldier uses a burst of wind to propel him forwards, basically adding more velocity to his thrust, hoping to strike somewhere important. He rolls a d20. That's a 19 -2, so that's a 17 to hit.
Lark rolls an 18.
Okay, so barely anything hit Lark. The blade kind of very much, it grazes Lark's right cheek, and there's maybe like a paper cut looking wound there. So that's gonna sting a little bit, but it honestly not even a lot of blood. has come out of that wound, so you're totally fine. Alright, back to you,
Okay.
Mark.
Lark is not going to go for his weapon just yet until he gets more distance. So what he does is he kind of brings some earth to wrap up around his right hand, and I guess the guy would have landed on his right side. So he brings up this dirt, and he takes a solid step, and he's going to try and basically take this hardened stone-covered hand and swing to kind of hit the guy in the neck. 18.
Ooh. Okay.
18
roll.
again.
18,
Yeah.
you said?
I might have to move this one. I should have conserved.
That's a 16 from me, so it's a bit of damage. The fist definitely strikes the soldier and inflicts a lot of pain. You see the soldier wincing, but it's not heavy enough to severely hinder them. Doesn't mean that it's not painful though, because it very much is. Soldier uses this opportunity to essentially create a very concentrated blast of air between his two hands, and he kind of pushes his hands forwards and uses this very quick but very punchy, very powerful gust of air to strike Lark in the stomach. That's what he's hoping to do.
Okay.
So that's a 15 after after the penalties.
What was it?
15.
Yeah. Lark rolled a 4.
Okay, that's a difference higher than 10. Alright, so in this situation, because of how I described my attack and how it went, the very strong gust of wind punches Lark right in the stomach, and I believe that might be strong enough to cause a bit of internal bleeding. Lark will have a -2 to his rolls from this point on, and if Lark takes another strong attack like that, then it might be to the point of no return.
Okay. All right. Okay, so did Lark get pushed? He got pushed back, correct?
Yeah, he kind of gets pushed back, he stumbles a little bit, you definitely feel that.
Okay. And I'm assuming the Airmani, he has his weapon drawn still?
Yeah, Gladius sword still in like one
Okay.
hand.
Lark is going to try to keep as much distance between him and the other guy as possible, so he's going to do the same attack that he did the first time, and basically take sharpened stones, and he's going to throw them his way.
Okay.
He rolled a 14 -2, it's 12.
That's a 5 from me, so quite a bit of damage. It kind of shreds through some skin and flesh, these shrapnels, and there's definitely a lot of flesh, skin damage, definitely blood trickling down an arm, trickling down the side of the Airmani's face, and you can probably see from the situation that if the enemy takes a strong blow, they would also most likely be out. So now it's down to whoever can land a very strong attack onto the other. So, the soldier will, kind of in a last-ditch effort, the soldier would kind of step back a few steps and then kind of pull his arm back, kind of like a javelin throw, and sends his gladius flying right towards Lark at high speeds, aided by the wind as well. That's an 11 after penalty.
For Lark, it's a 16 after mods.
Okay, so the attack doesn't even hit. In fact, the Gladius kind of soars past Lark, which gives Lark an opportunity to pick up that sword and use it for a counterattack.
Okay, so Lark will pick that up, and he will throw it back with full force. And also,
Okay.
it's got
Right back at
right
you.
back at you. It's going to be
Kirby.
Also, it's got what now? Sorry.
it's going to be an 11 with the mods. Take the mods.
It's an 18, so 16 with the mods. So that also doesn't hit. We're just gonna go with like a freaking back and forth Gladius sword toss trade going on here. So as you throw the blade back at the soldier, because of the roll, it doesn't land. I would say the soldier manages to jump up and catch it with his two hands, and he kind of does a backflip, lands on the ground, kind of lowers himself to a prowl, and launches himself back at Lark, basically bringing the sword down upon him. So let's roll for 14 with mods.
Crit.
So,
that's
nat 20?
Nat 20.
Nat 20. So, describe yourself in a very cool fashion of blocking, parrying, sidestepping, whatever. And because you rolled a nat 20, you get to ignore all your penalties for your next roll, so you don't have to do them either.
Okay. So he comes down. He swings the sword down at him, right? Is that what he said? Okay.
Yeah.
So Lark uses the moment to kind of build up a platform of dirt and kind of does it as quickly as he possibly can to hit the guy and kind of bounce him back.
Nice. All right. So let's have your counterattack.
Okay. All right. So Lark is gonna try and you know what? Yeah, okay, so Lark is going to be pretty boring here. He's going to just keep on keeping him at a distance because he doesn't want him getting close. So he's going to throw more shrapnel at him.
Okay. It's in character. Lark, probably being paranoid, probably wants to keep his distance. Makes sense. A d20, as
Okay,
always.
so it's a 15.
Okay, you don't have to add any modifiers. Mine is a 4, so that's a strong attack. That attack is strong enough for the attack to most likely finish this enemy off. So describe yourself finishing off this enemy.
Okay, so essentially, as the stones go flying in, they're actually all directed towards the central area where his heart is located. And they basically pelt through and they pierce through all the way to the ground behind. And you just hear him thunk, thunk, thunk into the dirt. You just see like this spray of blood.
Punches right
You
through.
see the spray of blood behind him.
Yeah. The soldier wavers a little bit for a few seconds and just collapses face first. And that soldier is gone. Lark, because of the strong damage upon you, roll a d20 to see whether or not this would be something fatal.
It's a 5.
It's a 5, so Lark would most likely survive this. Alright, so we're gonna do a kind of like transition swipe. We're gonna swipe towards Anele. So you're currently engaging another Aegiolician soldier. Let's see it.
Okay. Anele is, despite the fact that we're being ambushed, she's a little hesitant to like try and use lethal force. So she's going to try and trap the soldier in like a mound of dirt to immobilize him. So let's see. That's a 19.
Yikes, that's a 9. So because this is completely just an immobilizing ability and not damage, I would say that the enemy would suffer a -5 penalty on his upcoming attack roll, which I think would be fair. So he would probably miss this attack. So his feet are kind of immobilized by stone, right, at this point?
Mm-hmm.
So on the spot, the only thing he can do is to basically take out his longbow and try to fire an attack on the spot. And he suffers a -5, so I doubt this is going to hit. That's a 4 after the -5.
And I roll as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dodge.
10.
Yep, that's totally fine. The arrow whizzes past you. Not even close. It just was a complete miss. You could mock him if you want to, but it's your turn.
Anele is... Can I try something different?
Yeah, what's up? Yeah.
Can I, give a bonus to another player by, trying to immobilize the enemy that, Nomsa is fighting?
Okay, but that does mean you forfeit this attack.
Yeah.
It's gonna be back to the enemy. Let's do that.
Okay.
So you want
I
to
will
be
keep
similar to
noting it.
Nomsa's character, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Nomsa's enemy. Roll a d20. I still have to roll to defend that, but if it
Yeah.
works, then sure.
14.
13, so I would say it worked. Next time Nomsa's enemy has to react to an attack, or attack whenever they need to roll next, they roll a -5. So that's pretty good. But with this, the enemy now gets an attack onto Anele. So he finally managed to break the rock around his feet, so he's mobile once again. With his bow currently drawn already, he unleashes several arrows into the air. Then, after raising his hand a little bit, you see the arrows immediately kind of falling, like as if the strong gusts of wind from the skies have blown them down to add additional force. So basically a rain of arrows descending upon him. Nat 20.
Oof!
Ooh.
Hang on, my dice fell on the floor. 6.
So normally in actual combat of CF, a nat 20 means that you get to do a lot more damage, and you may have other benefits there. We'll explain the actual combat mechanics of CF when we get there. But in this situation, because it's a nat 20 and because a 6 is rolled, that's a difference of 14, I would say that this is a very, very strong attack, and one more decently strong attack. It doesn't even have to be like a difference of 10. If Anele gets hit by an attack that has a difference of 6 or more, Anele will fall. So the arrows kind of, as they come from above, they manage to miss Anele's head. But however, they manage to basically strike Anele's shoulders. So 2 of the arrows kind of strike Anele near the collarbone, on both sides of the shoulders, kind of inhibiting a lot of their ability to react to things. And the last arrow kind of hits Anele's side, so not the stomach, not any vital organs, but kind of just lodged right at the side there. So a triple hit.
Oh, yikes. Okay. Okay, that's real bad. Anele is going to I guess get out her weapon, which is a bow and arrow, and try and do damage to this guy.
Mm-hmm. Do you kind of pull the arrows out of your body, or are they still lodged into it?
No, I'm gonna leave those where they are.
Ooh,
That doesn't seem like a good idea.
Builds character.
Stab yourself with arrows. It'll quench ya.
Yeah.
It's the quenchiest. We'll have... this is kind of like a fight or flight response right now. You are on the verge of going down. So in this special case, you will essentially get the ability to add a +5 onto one of your rolls. I haven't explained I haven't factored in the negative penalty that you would get from that attack. You'll get a -3 from your rolls from now on because of that attack. However, your fight or flight response allows you to basically do a very strong attack back against the enemy, which gives you a +5. So you get a +2 in total. You can only do this once though, so whether or not you want to do that on defense or on attack is up to you.
Oh yeah, I want to do this right now. I'm gonna aim for the guy's face.
You get a +2 then.
All right. 14 plus 2, that's 16.
Nat 1.
Oof.
So, one more hit upon the enemy, and the enemy will also go down. Describe this attack then. Oh well, the arrow. Where do you want the arrow to hit? Something crucial, most likely.
I was aiming for the face, but I don't know how that's not like instant death.
That's a very fair point, but then again, I don't think that would be an instant kill. Maybe the opponent sidesteps a little bit, and instead it hits him on the chest, so he's also kind of bleeding out.
Mm-hmm.
Not exactly the heart, but on the side. Maybe it's punctured the lung. Yikes. So kind of, but he's pretty much gonna die. It's just whether or not he's gonna die immediately.
Yeah.
So, with this in mind, he gets a -3 to his roll as well, similar to your situation, and also he uses his fight or flight mechanic to add a +5, so he gets a +2 on this attack. So, last-ditch effort, pulls out an arrow from his quiver, hands trembling, can't breathe, quickly takes aim and lets loose a surefire shot. Let's see that. 19.
Ugh. 3.
Okay, so this might be it for Anele. The arrow strikes Anele right at the chest as well. Anele, you would probably be looking down at the arrow that is basically has pierced right through in between you. You don't know how much time you have left, but how are you feeling right now? What's going through your head? Like life flashing before your eyes?
No,
Do you collapse
I think,
immediately on the spot?
I think Anele is in shock and kind of wasn't feeling any pain, and then it all just hits her all at once, and she collapses to the ground and is trying to focus on breathing, but that's not that easy right now.
No. And I guess we'll go back to Anele once all the fighting is done, and we'll see what happens from there. For now, we transition towards Hila. Hey, Hila.
Okay, so we have one member down, right? We've got one who's...
Anele won't last.
And I don't remember, is Lark doing alright?
Lark is fine. Lark will survive.
Lark is okay. And... last...
We don't know about
so.
Domsa yet.
No. Okay, so are we surrounded by the? I'm trying to get myself.
So we're doing kind of like a one-on-one. We're dealing with our own enemies, and so you're fighting your own enemy as well. So feel free to describe your first attack onto the Ermani.
Okay, so first of all, I want to get away from these people.
Okay.
I just want to get away. I'm not very good at fighting. What I can do best is run, right? So
Yes.
I'm gonna try and escape. I wanna use my earth powers and create a wall in between me and the enemy, and then just fucking book it.
Okay. So let's have you roll a d20 just to see how effective that is.
Alright, let's see here. Let's use this. 8.
Okay, so effective enough that the enemy would probably get a penalty if they try to attack you. The Ermani, being agile and quick, still needs to spend a bit of time scaling that wall and vaulting over it to the other side. But once he does that, he's immediately running after Hila. You're kind of slightly away from the scene now, but given his Ermani qualities, he is gaining on you. And as he does that, he kind of lets loose a couple of small throwing daggers in your general direction, but will suffer a -5 because of the distance created between you two. That's a 2 after the -5. I doubt that would hit at all, but still rolled.
I rolled a 3.
Oh my god. So, it's a lot closer than we anticipated. You feel the whiz of the throwing daggers soaring right past your ear, but they missed and they fall into the floor in front of you.
Okay. I'm gonna keep running.
Okay. Hila's not gonna fight at all.
Hila is running. She's gotta get this message to her people, and she's pretty sure Lark's got it handled.
Well, let's
so
see if you make
out of
it.
there.
It's all down to the die rolls. So, you're just gonna be running, right? So that means
Yes.
you're probably gonna have to roll a d20.
Okay.
And because you're not attacking, the enemy will always suffer a small penalty because you're just trying to run. So, but if the enemy still rolls very well, you're still gonna get hit,
Right.
and you could get taken down. So roll a d20, please.
Right. 14.
17. So it's a small bit of damage, but don't think it's big enough to do any sort of add any penalty on your end. So he lets loose a couple of more daggers, and these daggers, one of them kind of lodges into your arm. You feel a very stinging pain after a few seconds, and it's just lodged there. It hasn't pierced anything vital, but it's still lodged there, very painful.
Right.
Which might cause you to falter a little bit.
Yeah, but I'm gonna pick up and keep going, I hope.
Okay.
Or I'm gonna try to anyways.
Yes. So you were probably gonna make it if... I would say you would make it if you successfully not die in 4 more rolls. So you need to roll 4 more times, including this one. If you manage all 4 rolls and you still haven't died until then, you will make it to the town.
Okay, I just rolled a 10.
Okay. You'll get a minus.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
He's gonna get a -3 in his rolls because you're running, so it's hard to hit you. But even with that, he rolled a 16. It's a base 19. So it's a 6. So you'll get a -1 in your rolls from now on. But we'll just say that he gets a -2 penalty instead of a -3. So it'll be easier to calculate. You'll just roll flat. So he, seeing that daggers aren't exactly working, he takes out his crossbow that's already loaded and immediately fires. And that crossbow hits you in the leg. So kind of the back account there. So that's not good, which is why you have a -1 in your rolls, which is I'll account for that. I'll just do a -2 penalty on my end. Okay, now do your second roll out of 4 rolls.
Alright, here we go. That is a 6 -1 for me, right? So that's a 5.
That's a 5.
I'm gonna die. And now you
Nat
learn
20.
about Poof's
Nat
first
20.
rolls.
Oh god, it's a nat 20. Oh god. God.
Well, nice knowing you guys.
So you're not even on the scene anymore. They don't know where you are. But if Lark makes it and heads towards town, he might actually be able to find you. But all that you can think of right now is running, getting the heck out of there, and getting back to town. Unfortunately, that's when you feel a strange sensation, the piercing sensation after the initial bit of shock, and you look down to see the entire gladius sword kind of piercing through your chest from behind. And you immediately stagger after a few seconds and you fall onto your knees.
Yep.
I would say that okay, I would say in this situation, you roll one last d20 against him. If you roll higher, then you will have a slower death in which maybe Lark will find you. If the enemy rolls higher, then you will basically die on the spot.
Okay, here we go. That's a 4 -1. So 3. This is how it goes every time I play. I always roll.
Don't worry, I rolled a frickin' 2. Let's just say that piercing thing led to some internal bleeding, but you don't immediately die, and that Lark can catch up to you. Let's have a slight bit of suspension of disbelief, I suppose, without going too much into the science of it, or the biology of it, I suppose.
So not dead, but they're playing dead.
Yeah. Okay. So the soldier,
and they're playing dead.
The soldier sees that and just looks down at you, kind of lets out a and just turns around and leaves. And I will make it so that Lark will be able to catch up to you and find you before you take your last breath. So lastly, we have Nomsa. Nomsa, you're still back at the fight, at a small clearing. So what would you do?
Okay.
You saw Ela dashing away. You see Ela making a mad dash.
Ela running. Lark getting hurt, and
I would say that Lark is getting hurt right now, and at this current moment, Anele has not been hit by the arrows yet. But yeah.
So I think
made the mad dash.
Ayla's just gone. Ayla's just gone. I think Nomsa's kind of panicked. They, this was their group, and watching, Ela tuck and run and Lark getting hurt. it kind of sparks pure primal rage, and she's run up and just not care. They're just gonna stab this person. They don't care if they're getting in range of anything. They don't care.
Mm-hmm. Definitely letting anger take charge, especially with Nomsa's bad mood already with Yamashita. It's just welling up inside Nomsa. Seikan's also busy though, so you can't exactly defend Nomsa either. Alright, so roll a d20 to attack.
Because Nomsa is a skilled fighter, I get a...
You get a +2, I think, actually.
Oh, I got an 11? Yeah. Right, so 11 plus
after the
2,
modifier-
13.
13 against my 5. So, I'll suffer a -1 from now on. What's your attack gonna be like?
Okay.
You stab?
I think, oh yeah, I think just sword in hand, just cleave right in the center. So, like,
Ooh,
through or anything, just cut.
interesting. Nice.
This is the sword swings of a mad woman at this point.
Right? And the Ermani, being enraged, also takes out his longsword and kind of does a return slash. And let's see how that goes.
If I got a crit on the defend, would you hold it against me?
If you roll a crit on defense, that means the opponent will get like a harsher penalty on their next attack, kind of like what happened to Larn.
Well,
So you
yeah,
rolled
that's
a nat
what I'm
20.
looking at.
Okay, so you basically
I think there's just a
parry-
cool parry.
Yeah, it's a really
Yeah.
cool parry. You hear the clash of metal and then the shing from the friction as you kind of shove his blade to the side. And now it's your turn again.
I think shoving it to the side, trying to push him off kilter, just goes right in for the chest again.
Ooh, nice.
That is a...
What'd you get?
10.
Okay.
In some
19.
circles, that's the best you can get.
19 with a penalty,
Wouldn't
which is
have
18. Okay. So, the Ermani manages to roll back, dodging the slash. Seeing that you're very reckless, he tries to create distance. He's the one that's trying to create distance this time. And he raises a hand, and you feel the air around your neck constricting. You almost feel that your windpipes are being crushed from the inside, from the outside. There's an external force trying to choke you. And roll a d20 for that.
Dang.
15.
15?
What? Sorry, could you repeat that?
I got a 6. 6.
Okay. Wait, 6?
1 6. 16.
Okay, so you shake that off, you kind of roll away from the current, and it seems to be concentrated in a specific spot, so it can't actively move around. So as you kind of break free from it, you're completely alright. What do you do next?
So at about this point, would Nele's help come in?
NLA just got hit by the arrows.
Okay. So, their buff to me would that have already happened, or would that have...
Would have probably already happened. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. Forgive me. I'll just give the enemy a penalty on the next roll. How's that?
That's fine. I was just trying to make sure that Anele didn't die for nothing.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me.
Anele died for nothing. That's a 4.
Oh, well, let's hope that the -5 is gonna be good enough for this. -6 because of my initial penalty. Yep, it's definitely enough. That's a -6. Yeah, that's a 9 -6. That's a 3. So somehow your attack still hit.
Okay. Fair enough.
Somehow that hit.
I think it's just like maybe it's
a
not
slap
even like
in
the
the
full
face.
extent of the blade.
It's a slap in the
Yeah, just it's the broadside of the sword. It's not even like a stab.
hit him with the hilt or something.
Yeah, exactly. It's not their best work.
Yes. So, in response, he let's say... Alright, so he kind of brings his blade back, holds back, holds the sword in sort of like a backhanded grip, like you would hold a dagger sometimes. And he holds the entire longsword like that, with his two hands, and tries to do like a kind of like a reverse cleave from one side, hoping to strike somewhere important. So roll a d20, please.
Oh, fun.
17.
6.
Okay.
Take it away.
Choose between leg or arm.
You're gonna pick the arm on that one. Gonna take
Okay,
arm
so-
for 200.
Going once, going twice, and gone. Disarmed.
Yeah.
The strike upwards, the upward cleave kind of slices right through Thompson's left arm, so the arm falls onto the ground. It's quite horrendous. Very graphic, which I won't describe in full detail. So that happened. Screaming in pain, most likely. You don't have a penalty, did you? You were completely fine, right?
I was fine.
So this will give you a -2 to your roll.
Oh, yay.
Thompson, how do you respond to that?
That's fine. There is a scream, and I think they see they like get bolted down by arrows, and
Yeah, the last arrow just struck Anele.
oh yeah, that's. I think her arm looks at Anele, looks at this person, just goes, "You are going to die for that."
He smirks back at you and says, I don't think he can handle it.
Don't make puns. That was her thing. I liked it better when it was her thing.
Oh.
18.
Wow. Nat 1.
Oof!
So all you have to do is to maybe roll more than a 5 when you attack, and he would be dead. Describe this attack, please. It's a nat 1. You get to probably cut off a lot of things, just not the head.
I think as she said, like, don't. She makes that comment, and I think he maybe go in for a second pun, and before
Yeah.
he notices like his leg gone, and as panting, looks up at him and just goes, "Besides, I don't think you have a leg to stand on and fight."
Oh crap! Oh crap! So a leg is gone, you said?
Yep.
All right, you gotta falls onto one knee. Let's have like a scream that echoes across the entire field. But he plants his sword onto the ground, gritting his teeth, trying to bear the immense pain that is now coursing through his entire body. He's not even gonna consider the amount of blood that's spewing out of his leg. He looks at you with a growl. He is now absolutely furious, as are you. And he kind of limps forward, but uses a quick gust of air to suddenly change the momentum. So he initially comes off as very slow, but with a sudden burst of air from the back, he's basically launched himself flying at you for kind of like a last-ditch attack. The last-ditch attack would give him a +5. So with what happened, that would be a -1 after a -2, so he normally gets a -3. He gets a +2. Okay. 17.
Hey! Would you look at that? 18.
Wow, okay.
One away.
So the attack misses. The attack was aimed at your head. He was about to decapitate you. And so now all you have to do is roll 5 or higher on your attack, and he will be out. Remember your
Okay,
penalty, so you're currently a penalty of a -3, and so is he.
Right. Penalty, that is
15. That's hard. You need a natural 20.
Yeah, that ain't happening. I think I got like
mean,
a
there's been nat
that's not
20s.
happening. I know, but I got a 10, so that's not happening.
Okay, the attack misses, unfortunately. But now he's in close range. All right. Now that he's in close range, he kind of rolls back, launches himself backward a little bit, but he's still limping. He's not the most agile. He immediately lets off 3 arrow shots into the air, much like the other person is, hoping that one of these would land, seeing how melee attacks seem to be not working. Well, okay, maybe it did work. An arm did fall, but still, getting distance might be a better idea when you don't have a leg. So he doesn't have his last ditch attack anymore. So let's oh, I should say that you also have a last ditch attack because you're in the same situation. But if you did use your last ditch attack, that would still be 15 on the 15. It'd still be 15 on 15. It wouldn't do. Yeah, you still have a +5. So if you want to. So he just rolls to attack with his 3 arrows. Let's see. 15 again.
Okay, let me roll.
You want to
These
use your last
dice
ditch?
just... I might, yeah. With the last ditch, that makes it 16.
Wow.
So I survived just...
Yeah, you managed to sidestep the arrows falling onto you. Okay.
Okay. Now I have to beat his roll by 5 to kill him.
Yeah, but at this point, you're bleeding so much because you haven't been able to patch it. If you do not kill him in the next 2 rolls, then you will bleed out.
Well, time to put literally all of her rage into one swing and see what happens. 14.
3.
Well, that'll do it.
Okay. Describe. Finishing blow.
Huh. Okay. Okay. I think she just, like... As this person lands, just the second they land from their air... They tried to decapitate her, so she's gonna return the favor.
Ooh, off with his head.
And just to her knee.
Sorry, you're cutting out a tiny bit. What'd you say?
Sorry, I think immediately after the wound finally... painful.
You're cutting off really badly. Sorry, I can't hear you.
Is it any better now?
Slightly, I think.
Okay. I was just saying that, like, she would just kind of fall to her knees at this point.
The head rolls onto the floor. The body immediately collapses afterwards. Namsa, you would probably be able to survive if you get yourself patched up very quickly to stop, at least to suppress the bleeding. Given that your wound may not, is probably not infected, so you might be fine. So what do you do with the situation?
Immediately go check on Anele.
Okay. So, Anele, how's it going on your end?
Anele got hit with like 4 arrows, all in pretty critical spots. I think at this point she's lost like a lot of blood and is just trying to focus on breathing.
Oof.
And how's Nomsa gonna react to that?
I think they're gonna see this, and just kind of... At first, just tell them just keep breathing, you know? Namsa's gonna try and be comforting, and, she, would tell, Adele that, you know, well, I kicked mine's ass. Well, head? I don't know. I can't think of a pun right now, I'm sorry.
Anele looks up at Nomsa and, she kind of smiles, when she says that, but her eyes dart to, her very clearly missing arm, and she tries to lift up her hand a little bit, and
Hey. It's fine. It'll be fine. I'll be fine. Just, it'll be fine.
Melee breathes in as if she's going to say something, and winces, and she lays her head back down on the ground and stops moving.
There's just a second of disbelief, and Dumps is gonna try and awkwardly give a one-armed hug.
At the same time, Lark is done with his fight.
Yeah, Lark, you just see Namsa giving a weird one-arm hug to the body of a melee.
Lark is going to approach, and it's very somber. But he tries to hold it in, and he barely manages to. And he says, "We have to keep moving. We don't know where Ela is."
Lark, you better know how to fucking patch me up.
Lark reaches into his bag and pulls out bandages and compression gear and starts to try and take care of your wounds.
Sakan is also finally done with his fight. His own soldier that he was fighting against collapsed onto the floor. He turns towards everyone else, then walks up and sees Anele, and he pauses. He just closes his eyes. No. No.
We can't find Ela either.
Fuck. Damn it! I'm sorry.
They want to say it's fine, but they stop themselves.
Lark looks at him and says, "It's not your fault. This was inevitable in this circumstance."
Gun looks over at Namsa as well, notices her lack of an arm, and he lowers his head as well. I'm sorry about that as well.
It's fine, you should see the other guy.
Are you good enough to move right now? Should get going.
Once Lark's done patching me up, I'll be ready to just keep going, I guess.
Just then you hear rustling around the bushes, and Sakan immediately turns around in a protective stance in front of you guys. We see a couple of other soldiers stepping into the clearing. They have backup. Sakan grits his teeth and glances behind his shoulder, looks at everyone else and says, "Go, now."
Lark's gonna help up. Yeah.
Lark, am I good enough?
Go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna ask, am I good to go? Alright,
That's
fine. She takes one last... Okay. She takes one last look at Anele and just turns to Sakan, just goes like, give him hell.
Noted. Good luck. With
My best.
With his fist clenched, you see him stomp the ground with as much force as he could, and a ring of earth begins to form around the clearing, blocking off the enemy troops that wanted to intercept you. You hear a couple of screams inside, some people being thrown against the rock wall, and you hear more noises from within. And then there's probably some silence. But that's sadly not what you need to be worrying about right now. The orders that you had are loud and clear. You have to go. And our flight across the field is frantic and harried, fueled by unadulterated fear and grief. we clamber up the ashen gray steps towards the top of the hill slower, and it's then when we stumble upon a dying Ela.
Lark?
Ela.
Lark, is that
Yeah,
you?
it's me. I'd ask if you're okay, but
I tried to...
Go ahead.
I tried to get the message.
It's okay.
She's gasping for breath now. She's really close to the edge.
Lark,
I thought I could if I ran, because I'm not good at fighting.
I know. It's okay.
You've got to get that message to him, Lark. You've got to take that. You gotta get it there safe. Please.
I will. And I guess he kind of like takes her hands and holds them really tight and kind of waits with her.
Yeah, she's not long for this world. She's like sweating. Like she gasps for breath maybe twice.
All right.
He has a minute at the most. Namsa, do you say something?
I think they would, after there's a pause, you know? Like, after they've had their moment, I think she would just say, Ela, you were the best of us. I hope you know that. I was a bit of a hard ass, but you were always there for us.
Lark kind of looks down at her and he says, "Don't worry. See you on the other side someday."
Ela nods really weakly as she dies.
Ela, what now?
Dies.
Draws her last breath. For the rest of us, do we stay for a little longer? Do we move on?
Lark, you have the message. I have to make sure that no one's trailing you.
It's fair.
Give me 5 minutes. You go on ahead. If you don't hear back from me, well, assume I took down 20 before I went down.
I'll make sure I tell you the tale of how you took down all of the army. It's fine. But now's not the time for jokes.
Thanks, Lark. I'm trying. It's what an Ela would do. Sorry.
So Lark takes off with the message.
What does Namsa do in the meantime?
Stand guard. That's been her job since day one. She was the military protector of these probably newer forces on. They were the oldest.
You do know that if a small division or platoon comes over, you probably won't survive that fight.
I think Namsa knows that.
Alright, let's roll a d20. Depending on who rolls higher, they may or may not appear. 11.
2.
After what feels like an eternity, another group of Aegilisians are seen crawling up this hill. These aren't the same ones that Zakan were fighting, no. Zakan dealt with those accordingly. This is another group, but probably the only group that has made it across the fields. We've dealt with 2 already. This might be the last one. But they're standing in your way. Well, you're standing in their way.
I think Namsa just kind of sees them coming, grins a little bit, and just goes, Lark better have been to the city and already healed himself up fully by now. And takes out their sword, kind of looks around, looks at Ela, thinks about their friend who had died on the field beforehand, and just kind of thinks, I'll be in good company at least, and charges.
fade to black. Meanwhile, Lark, you climb, your heart, your body barely keeping up. You leave a slight trail of blood in your wake, tainting whatever you come across, but the moon shines brightly, lighting your path with its benign reach. Soft light glints off the petals of hundreds of thousands of hyacinths, spreading across the field in front of you. But the flowers grow tall and jaggedly, casting fearful shadows around you as well. Their strong scent is cloying and uncomfortably overwhelming. You all walk through them at a slower pace than before, but there's no comfort to be found here. Soon enough, the gates to the great city of Imani rise up before you, darkening your surroundings to the point where you can barely see the road ahead. But you've made it. There beneath the moonlight stands Chieftain Taleza, her body casting a long shadow between you and her. When she's spotted by the guards nearby, she is quickly alerted of your presence, and it doesn't take long until you feel her warm hand on top of yours, familiar pair of gentle, calming eyes, offering you a brief moment of solace, of peace. What happened? Says Taleza, while medics are called to your side.
Hit a bit of a rough patch on the way up. You didn't realize already, we're being invaded.
I heard a slight commotion down the hill, is that it?
Oh, that would be it? We lost so many Mani today.
Hey, Ulysseans, I take it.
Yes. And he hands her the note.
He looks over it quickly and then lets out a soft sigh. I don't know why someone would ever do this. But what's done is done. We have to take responsibility for our actions. And we need to prepare for war. He raises a hand, alerts the guards nearby, and they disperse, waking up the town that was previously asleep. She looks back at you, nodding attentively to your words that you said, and she tries her best to hide her worry behind a faint, grateful smile. Thank you. Thank you for everything, soldier. Imani will remember your story. And as she says that, what's going through your head right now? The fallen friends of yours? You look behind your shoulder, looking at the path that leads up to the city, and you don't see Namsa coming up.
He's thinking, see you soon, my friends.
And as we zoom out from the scene, a loud howl of a round horn resonates across the night sky. Our vision slowly pulls away up into the starry night, the town now no more than distant specks of warm torch. And there you have it! The Saviors of Imani. Our storyteller, Panya, slams her book shut with a big smile. A small whiff of dust fills the dry morning air. 5 heroes with one duty. It was tragic what happened to them all, but the town was saved. And in the end, not one of them has been forgotten. As Panya leans against the window pane, our vision pans towards the sunlight, giving us a glimpse of the town. There, right at the end of this path, stands a large silver statue of 5 warriors, shining forever in the sun's everlasting warmth. At the bottom of the statue, gifts, bouquets, even baskets of food and amenities. Unlike the brave warriors that are represented by the statue, their story is eternal. You must be wondering, says Panya, our attention snapping back to the young girl. What happens next, Panya? How did Imani fare in the upcoming war, Panya? Well, Panya can tell you, but that'd be going into a completely different story here. A story of love, happiness, pride, family, and more. A tale with angst, tears, and ever-growing stakes. A grand adventure that even I took part in. A lot has happened over the last 2 years. For a moment, she seems to have drifted away in thought. A lot. But she soon flashes us a big toothy smile. Don't worry. If you have the patience, little Panya will reward you. The adventurers, they were about your age, you know? Who knows? Hell, you might even be the next warrior of your city. Hopefully without dying part, though. That kinda sucks. Standing up, Panya sets down her previous book and reaches for a nearby bookshelf. She does a playful little twirl within the empty space of her room, then prances over and plops a new book on the nightstand. With a hand on her waist and a peace sign beside her cheek, she grins coyly. I even came up with a nice name for that grand adventure. I call it... Our vision slowly shifts towards the new book with a red leather cover. Once we're on top of it, where we get a clear shot of the book's title, we see the words in bold golden font. Clara Fantasia, the Rekindled. Cut to black. And that's episode 0! Hey guys, thank you all for listening. This is once again episode 0, so episode 1's onwards gonna be the main story where we have our main cast of characters going on this grand adventure. And from then on, it's The Rekindled. Season 1 of Clara Fantasia, where 4 kids on Volixia Fields, now Volixia Battlefield, meet and take part in a story that is far grander than they thought. You can expect the first episode to come up within 2 weeks or so stay tuned. It's going to come out very soon. If you'd like to check out the podcasts that some of our players are working on, really do consider looking up Missing Roleplayer Found, the Frostwalkers. Some of our podcast people might post their social media handles on our Discord channel. If you want to check out their art, if you want to check out their projects, they might do that. So feel free to support them, support us. We'd like to have you around. So, speaking of social media, you can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, but I definitely encourage you to join the Discord so you can comment on the current episode. We might have listening parties going on, and you can always have feedback, you can see character art, there's a lot of fun going on. Thank you for tuning in, folks. Hope you enjoyed episode 0, and I'll hopefully see you in the next episode of Clara Fantasia. Have a great one, folks.